So lately, it seems like tennis is popping up everywhere, right?
It really does.
And it's not just the matches. Like, yeah, the actual tennis is amazing, but I'm talking about all the pop culture stuff that's getting mixed in.
Right, right.
Musicians putting out tennis tracks, celebrities at games, even some big-time actors picking up a racket on screen.
It's definitely a moment.
It feels like those lines are getting kind of blurry in a fun way, you know?
Totally. It's like this whole cultural mashup.
And we're diving deep into all of it today. Get ready for some seriously cool tennis trivia because we've got stories about athletes, musicians, actors, you name it.
I've got to say, it's been interesting to see how these two worlds, sports and entertainment, are colliding more and more.
Right, like it's not just a coincidence at this point.
Yeah, it feels like there's something bigger going on, almost like a shift in how we see sports and pop culture.
Totally. And speaking of unexpected mashups, we have got to talk about this Aryna Sabalenka story. This one blew my mind.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
So get this. After her win in Wuhan, someone went and dedicated an entire song to her.
I know, right? Tiger by DJ KDS.
It's called Tiger, and okay, tell me you aren't already obsessed. I've been singing it all week.
It's super catchy, and honestly, it's pretty rare to have an entire song specifically about an athlete.
I was going to say, you hear about athletes' walk-up songs, but a whole anthem.
Exactly. This is next level.
It makes you wonder if it's a new trend.
Maybe? Like, is this the future of sports fandom? I don't know, but it's interesting to think about.
For sure. And the story gets even better. Apparently, Sabalenka's boyfriend is actually friends with the artists who made the song.
Oh, wow. Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so there's that personal connection, too.
That's so cool. Makes it even more special.
It does. It really makes you think, why aren't there more tennis-themed songs out there?
Seriously.
It's such a vibe. It could be a whole genre.
Good question. I mean, there are a few other tennis songs out there. Remember that one, Autograph by the Bryan Bros Band?
Oh, yeah, right. They got Murray and Djokovic to sing on that, didn't they?
They did. I mean, it's not exactly topping the charts.
But still, maybe there's a whole untapped market for this.
I'm just saying, someone called Drake? Yeah. I think we're onto something here.
Tennis pop, here we come. But really, though, why do you think there aren't more tennis songs?
I think it might be because, musically speaking, tennis doesn't have a strong sonic identity in the same way that, say, basketball does with hip-hop.
That's a really good point. You don't really associate a specific sound with tennis.
Right. And maybe that's part of what Zendaya was getting at when she said tennis is becoming cool again.
Oh, interesting.
Like maybe it's finding its own sound, its own vibe beyond the court.
Right, like a whole new aesthetic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that could be what's drawing people in.
It's like tennis is stepping into the spotlight and finding its place in the cultural conversation.
Exactly. It's not just about the game anymore. It's about the whole vibe.
And speaking of vibes, Coco Gauff seems to be really embracing that crossover, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's definitely one to watch, both on and off the court.
There was an article about how she's inspired by Gio Wilson, the WNBA star.
I love that. It's so cool to see that kind of cross-sport admiration.
Right. It's like this awesome network of athletes supporting and inspiring each other.
And it shows how sports can create these connections that go beyond just the game itself.
Totally. And then you have icons like Billie Jean King, who just keeps breaking barriers.
Seriously, she's a legend.
She was just named the Grand Marshal of the Rose Parade, which is a huge deal.
It's a huge honor. For those who don't know, the Rose Parade is this massive New Year's Day tradition in the U.S.
It's iconic.
And for Billie Jean King to be chosen as the Grand Marshal, it's a powerful statement.
It really is. It shows how much she's done for equality and social justice, not just in tennis, but in the world.
Absolutely. Her impact goes way beyond the tennis court.
Okay, now for some slightly lighter news. We've got some juicy dating rumors swirling around Aiken Sue from Love Island and tennis star Grigor Dimitrov.
Oh, yeah. This is fun. Everyone loves a little off-court romance.
Right. Apparently, they were spotted getting cozy at Wimbledon.
Ooh la la.
But when asked about it, Aiken Sue kept it pretty vague. You know, gotta keep those rumors going.
Of course. A little mystery always adds to the intrigue.
Exactly. But it does make you think tennis stars are becoming real celebrities these days.
They are. And with that comes all the attention and speculation, just like in Hollywood.
It's true. Speaking of Hollywood, did you hear that Andy Roddick is going to be in a movie with Ben Stiller?
Wait, seriously? That's amazing. What kind of movie?
It's a comedy about pickleball.
Of course it is. Pickleball's everywhere these days.
I know, right? It feels very 2024.
It does. But Andy Roddick and Ben Stiller, that's a comedic dream team.
I can't wait to see it. On a slightly more serious note, one article really got me thinking. It was about Garbiñe Muguruza and her journey to find her identity after retiring from tennis.
That's so real. It's something a lot of athletes struggle with, you know?
Mhm.
That transition from being defined by your sport to figuring out who you are outside of it.
It's like your whole life revolves around training and competing, and then suddenly it's over.
Right, and you have to figure out what's next. It can be daunting.
For sure. And it takes a lot of courage to walk away from something you've dedicated your life to and embrace that unknown.
It does. It's inspiring to see athletes like Muguruza navigating that new chapter and finding their passions beyond the court.
Totally. It really makes you think about all the different paths these athletes take, even after they're done playing professionally. And it reminds me, actually, we were talking about transitions and finding your footing, and it made me think about Zheng Qinwen.
Oh, right.
Remember Aryna Sabalenka's win in Wuhan that we were talking about? She actually beat Zheng Qinwen to get that title.
That's right, Zheng Qinwen,
Yeah.
an amazing player. You know, her story is really interesting when you think about how an athlete's nationality can become a big part of their career.
It's true, because one article mentioned how she's like a huge deal in China, especially after that Olympic gold medal.
Absolutely.
There was even this cute story about how she's not big on hugging, but she made an exception for a fellow Olympic gold medalist. I thought that was so sweet.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
And, it just shows how sports can bring people together from totally different backgrounds and cultures. But going back to what you were saying, her popularity in China, it really highlights how important that home country advantage can be for an athlete.
Right, you have that extra pressure, those expectations from an entire nation, but then you also have this incredible wave of support.
For sure. And for someone like Zheng Qinwen, her success has become a source of pride for China, which makes her even more of a cultural icon there.
Totally. It's like this whole other layer to their journey.
It is. They're not just representing themselves, they're carrying the hopes of their entire country.
Exactly. It's pretty powerful stuff. And, you know, it's been so interesting to see how these tennis stars have become more than just athletes, right? They're influencers, they're cultural ambassadors, they're trendsetters.
I know. It's amazing to see them connecting with people in ways that go beyond just sports.
For sure. And I think that's what's so exciting about this whole intersection of tennis and pop culture. It's like the lines are getting blurred, you know?
I feel like
Athletes are becoming these multifaceted figures who are starting conversations and challenging norms and inspiring change.
exactly. It's a new era of fandom. And honestly, who knows what kind of crazy collaborations or rivalries or cultural moments will come out of it. It's an exciting time.
It really is. It reminds us that sports are more than just games, you know?
For sure.
They reflect our culture and our values and our shared experiences as humans. So much to think about.
It really is fascinating.
So next time you're watching a match, pay attention to those pop culture connections. You might be surprised by how much more there is to the story. Until next time.